Good morning, my fellow online BJJ practitioners. How's everyone doing? Hello, Benjamin. Alright, let's see what we have. Morning. Turn this music down. Alright, so Monday we did the first part of this lesson over here, the passing starters guide, which looked at a few passing styles. Today we're gonna finish off and then we'll do some breakdowns of some matches. Oof, the stream is very delayed today. Okay, so I'll quickly recap what we did on Monday, and then we'll move on to today's stuff. But on Monday we looked at, I think it was these three, which was as soon as you start passing someone's guard, you avoid any guard that they have, that being spider, de la hiva, lasso, whatever you can, and you try some distance style passing before you get stuck. And if you get stuck, we go into our mid-range style passing, or you can combine these two, and eventually if we end up in tight positions, these are the passes we're gonna go for. A really nice little starting fundamental passing style is these three little chains here, which is knee slice, long step, and leg weave. They work really great together in combination, but I'll show you the clips real quick. It goes, first one is avoiding getting stuck in these positions. So if you do get stuck in spiders, lassos, and collar and sleeve or whatever, you're gonna have to deal with those counters instead, which I don't show much here, but we do have some lessons on those guards. But here's just some quick ones. First one is, if you get stuck on spider, just try to walk backwards. Don't pressure the spider, that's the worst thing you can do. And you can Toriada, whatever. Here's another one. You can use the knee pike, which is use your knee to get rid of one of the spider guards and then start passing. But here's the actual chain that we're going to try to follow. Okay, so first one is the Toriada pass. Very aggressive style passing, which requires you to be a bit quicker than the opponent. So get your grips and we start passing to whatever side. It won't be as easy as that. You often have to change direction several times, but that's just the basic version of it. Okay. The beauty about this is obviously you're quick enough that the person doesn't set up a spider guard on your biceps. So you get them into a defensive stage as you start doing this pass. Next up we have the knee slice. So hand on the hip, push the knee down. Here's our mid-range style passing. Slice through and settle down. Many versions of the knee slice. Just find one that suits your body and style. Leg drags. Here's kind of another distance / mid-range one. Let me take a look. Very used, this one. Used quite often. And it's really powerful. Again, several ways of getting into it. It's just the basic entry. And then we have the long step, which starts off like a knee slice, but we kind of swap the grips, collar grip and pants grip. So if you got those two, then you can do a long step. Main thing that we talked about last week about the long step is just keeping your head as close as possible to their chest to prevent the regard. And then we have leg weave, and this little chain that I mentioned here, knee slice, long step, leg weave, these are these 3 moves that I just showed. So this would be the leg weave, and they can be combined quite well. So there I go for knee slice, then I switch to a leg weave. But you could go in any order. If you've been to our dummy classes, we've been drilling this quite a bit. But that's our kind of free trio there. Pressure passing next. You have over-unders, double-unders, and 3/4 style passing. Again, we covered all this on Monday, so I'm going to blast through it so we get to today's class. But over-unders pass. Nothing too crazy here. If you're a seasoned student, you've probably learned this before. Main things to watch out are these. So one, it's a triangle. If you don't hug this leg far enough, they often bring their foot out. You get triangled. Or you often push the knee and you end up getting kimura'd. Over-unders best friend, double-unders. So I go underneath, pull the person towards you so you get a nice stack going on. Many variations to this pass, but this is just the traditional one with the cross collar. Again, you're going to have to find one that you enjoy doing. 3/4 smash pass. This is quite an interesting one. This is where you force the person either to a butterfly hook, or sometimes you get caught in it when you're trying to pull close guard and one of your legs gets stuck. You can kind of skip past like this. Again, lots of variations to that pass, but that's the basic one. Show it one more time. Now we're starting to get to our next kind of passing style, which is forcing the half guard. So this is where you basically don't want to deal with someone's open guard. So you just do your best to sit on one of their legs and stop pressuring them. I still have to deal with the knee showed here. So it's kind of still mid-range style passing. But I'm using my hips to kind of collapse the knee to force them into a tight scenario like this, which is the neck slice. There is one little chain before the tight passing, which is this one, which we sometimes call smash passing, but basically you want to crush both of their knees to the side. And again, there's lots of variations to this pass. This is just the leg hook variation. But you could end up with different versions of it. Same thing here, trying to crush that knee. She kicks the knee through, I end up in the tight scenario. Cool. Any questions about those, fire them now. But now I'm gonna move on to today's class, which is the smashed half guard scenarios. So in these cases, we've gotten into this position here, hold on, here, where we have a full half guard, but there's no knee showed. So we might have underhook and crossface, double underhooks, or just one underhook. So we're going to look at what passes to do in each scenario. So there's about 3 forms, should be 4, but 2 of them are kind of the same. There's about 3 forms of this smashed half guard. We have underhook and crossface, which is this here, which is the most traditional one. This is the crossface, and this is the underhook over here. So that's our first little form of the smash half guard. So that's the first chain we're going to look for. Morning, Steve. So we have main two passes we go for from underhook and crossface. There is a few others. Is the tripod pass and the hook back up. So here they are. Now these passes, they're relatively easy to teach, or most people know them, but it's the mistakes that people do that gets you into a lot of trouble usually. So I'm not sure. It was frozen. Perfect. So you might be able to get this a lot, but if you make one simple error, it kind of backfires most of the time. Here's the tripod pass. I'm going to tripod up, put my knee to the sternum, and then knee slice through. You've probably been taught this, or you've done it before. Kind of the basic pass. Now the things that go wrong with this is, the first one, people tend not to pinch their knees together to keep them opponent in the half guard. Usually if you don't pinch your knees together, they just pull close guard on you, or they take this knee out through this gap, and you're gonna get stuck or even rolled off sometimes to the side. So that's the first thing to watch out for. The other thing is, people often don't put the knee on the sternum. The knee on the sternum kind of guides you safely to what direction your opponent kind of turns, if that makes sense. So I could force my knee to go in that direction, or I could force my knee to go to this direction. But if you put the knee on the sternum, the person will kind of shift a little bit, and you'll be left with only one kind of choice, which is usually the better choice. If it's just uncomfortable in the body if someone does this to you. If she turns onto this side, that will be you with a knee slice. If she turns to that side, that would be you in 3/4 mount, which are both good for you. So here she turns her legs to this side, so that means I get a knee slice. But the knee on the sternum really helps. The other thing that you often get caught in is you can't really see it, but this underhook gets trapped underneath, okay? Maybe they bring their arm over here and just trap it over overhook or something. Gotta make sure you have good base, especially to this side over here, because that's the side you usually get rolled over to. If you get off balance to this side, you usually have your leg to base on, and you don't end up in kind of getting rolled. You probably end up in close guard or off balanced, but usually you can recover if someone pushes you to this side. But that side there always leads to you getting rolled. If you're unsuccessful with flaring the elbow, you can also use your head as base, but just be worried about this side and that underhook. But yeah, put your knee on the sternum, force them to choose a side, and then go through. Hook back up. So this is the next one up. So you kind of know when to use this, because the person squeezing your leg so tight in the half guard that this could be you tripoding up, or just in the static position like this. Here I'm doing it, so I try to do the tripod pass. Her legs are too tight, so I walk off to the side and I get my hook in. Now I start getting my knee out, and then I'm out. So again, this is a very easy pass in terms of you see it and you kind of do it, but the same things that get you rolled over from the tripod pass that I mentioned can happen to you here, and probably in a probably higher percentage because of one mistake that people do, which let's see if you guys can know what it is. I actually got a clip from last week of one of our students getting caught in this. Sorry. So here it is. Alright, so here. See if you guys can spot it. So he's stuck in half guard. His head is in kind of an awkward position here. So let's just ignore his head. This is one of the reasons why he gets rolled, but he gets forced into half guard. He's got underhook and crossface, but he's using his head as an underhook. You can see him tripoding up now, and you can see the other leg now trying to do a hook back up. See that? The foot just goes in there. Now he does a good job getting the hook in, but he compromises his base a little and he gets rolled over. So one more time. We're here. Tries to do the hook back up and then he gets rolled over. So other than his head in the wrong spot, what do you guys think the other thing he did wrong was? Give you a couple seconds to see if anyone answers it. See if Steve spots it. Looks like he was too narrow. Was facing the wrong side. Yeah, his there's a couple of issues. I wanted this if this video it'd be nice if he didn't get his head in position. So if you forget about his head, if his head was on the other side, right, and he had the perfect position, and this is what people still do without knowing, is there's a center line. We'll go back to the other video. There's a center line on the person like this, and often people go towards the center line to get their hook in because it's usually too far. So if I tried to get the hook here right now, I'd have to lift this foot really high to get this hook in, and that means my whole weight is off a little bit to this side here, and then it's really easy for you to just push the person over and flip them. All you need to do is you can put a foot on the hip, and as soon as they lift this foot off to put the hook in, they're basically gone. But yeah, Steve got it at the end there. Like, move to your left, which means before attempting to get the hook back up, you walk to the left first, and then you get your hook back up. So then you never cross that center line over there. Look, it's curious. Special guest. She should be at work. She's the one I'm smashing here. So make sure that we walk off to the side before we attempt to get that hook back up. And even if you tripod up, so if I was here, tripoded up like this is what Aaron did. He tried to get the hook in now, and basically all his base is gone, and the guy flips him. So walk to the side. I like walking to the side from here. But you can also do it from the tripod position, but I just feel a bit safer here. The other thing is, once you get this hook in, try to sit down on your heel. I don't do a very good job here because I can't sit on my heels. But the more weight you put down, the better this leg comes out. There we go. Cool. Any questions about that hook back up? These two, if you're very good at distributing weight from half guard and crossface, if you get a nice little position like this, these are probably the only two passes you ever need, unless your partner uses butterfly guard, which is going to be a variation of that, those two to get out of. But that's it. Now, moving on, if these two are amazing but hard to master. Exactly, yeah. It takes years to get good at these two, especially the tripod pass. This one, it's easier to make mistakes than to actually do this pass. I still get caught in this all the time. So my main issue is a lot of times as I'm starting to tripod, the biggest issue in our gym is everybody plays butterfly guard. So butterfly hook kind of messes this up. Not pinching your knees and your head positioning. But yeah, these are bread and butter right there. Now, going back to our chain, we have only underhook now. So we have these two styles of passing. Only underhook means, only crossface, sorry, means this kind of base. So either your opponent has an underhook on you, or you just manage to get this. So I get to my underhook and crossface position. My opponent gets an underhook on me. So I can stay in this position, and there are a few passes that I can do while she has this underhook here. But as a general rule, if someone gets an underhook in you, first thing, don't just change your base straight away. Try to trap their underhook. That means I'm gonna bring my elbow towards her hips and kind of close the space there on her underhook so she can't move. After I've done a good job of doing that, then I'm good to go to my sitting guard stance, which is I'm gonna sit on my hip and go to this position here. Now you can't really see here, but I have my left knee on the crease of her hip there, if that makes sense. Just to block her from coming up. You might see in a different angle, but from there I'm using my elbow to clear my knee there. Try not to use your hands to push. That's what a lot of people do. They use their hand over here to push, then the person with their free arm reaches around and handcuffs you. If you've been caught in that, you won't use your hands anymore, but use your elbow to push. Expect them to push your knee and get your underhook back. And now into 3/4 mount, knee to sternum, butterfly hook goes in, and we're out. So one more time. She gets the underhook. I trap her underhook. I switch my base. Use my elbow to push. Expect her to stuff my knee and get the underhook back. Knee to sternum. Butterfly hook. Come out. The gi variation of this, which is, I think, most gyms teach as well, is you have underhook and crossface again. You pass the gi instead, and it kind of acts like an underhook. And it's exactly the same pass as before. They often get a frame on you if you don't keep your head low enough. So anytime they switch an underhook to a frame, they'll normally do it now. You can kind of push the elbow and get this position. Now, that's essentially what Aaron got into in the clip, this position here. But he wasn't in 3/4 mount, if you understand that bit. So his knee wasn't out. So that's what made it a little bit more dangerous. If his knee was out, he would have been perfect, because he could use this hand as a base and he was fine. Because he was in an awkward position, he got rolled over. But that's the invisible underhook. So when someone has an underhook on you and you have a full half guard, not a knee slice, remember that, because it's very different if you have a knee slice. We're left with trapping their underhook and going for a sitting style pass. If it's in the gi, you can use it as a invisible underhook. Those are the two traditional ones, but there are a few other. The third one that you can do is back here, which are near side underhook passes. Which basically means here, imagine she does have an underhook on this side, but instead of you had a crossface, you change it back to an underhook. Hello, Lisa. So you get an underhook instead on this side, and that kind of negates her underhook, because she can't get up on this elbow to get underneath you, or she can't tuck this elbow underneath. So that's probably all your kind of options there. And here's a better angle of what I mean by my knee going into the hips. So whenever I switch my base, I go there. This is still wrong. My knee should be on a hip, not underneath a leg. Cool. So we've dealt with the underhook. What's this? Octopus. Slimy foot. The last little position, we call it octopus style passing, which looks like this position. We often get to this kind of stance because we can't get an underhook nor a crossface. So usually they're framing, you're not able to get any sort of head control, so you just settle for octopus like this, which is underneath their arm. Now it's a battle of her pushing me down and me moving up towards her body in that direction. Whoever does a better job at doing any of that kind of wins. So the further she puts me down, the more vulnerable I am for her taking my back. The more higher up I am, the higher chance of me getting a pass comes in. So here, Here's the slimy spot. So I get really high up. And I'm just going to grab my own feet. Pull it out. And it comes out quite easily. Just like that. Hopefully. So one more time. Again, I'm being lazy there, but my knee should be in that little gap that you can't see. Grab your foot, pull out. Now your foot, if the person squeezes your legs too hard, you won't be able to get your foot out. So you switch your base. Can't get my hand inside, so then we're back to our elbow push. Just like before, expect the person to push this knee. Now the only reason why we go for the slimy foot first is because, so if we get to this bit here, if I can get my hand inside this thigh here, and you can grab your foot, you're usually gonna pass half of the time. Your foot comes out really easily if you point it like this. And you can also hug the leg if the person tries to bridge you. The 3/4 transitions is the second one, because it kind of leaves you in an awkward passing stage, which is this stage. So I get my knee out, and you can see my elbow is in a terrible position now. If I try to pass from here, I have to bring this arm over to the other side. And here's the kind of like the dangerous part about this pass. If you're facing someone quite explosive, they're gonna stiff arm you or push your elbow really far to this side, and you're gonna be off balanced. So this has to be a really quick transition. So watch, I'm gonna go from here to bringing my arm over to reinforce it. There. And then I still have to swing this arm over, which can get trapped. And then now you're in a good position and you'll be good to pass. So that's why we prefer passing like this first. And if that doesn't work, we go to this one. Again, lots of little different styles of it, but that's the basic chain. So today we looked at the smashed half guard scenarios. So we know crossface and underhook, which is this stance. We know that if they get an underhook, we kind of move on to seating style pass. And if we can't get neither of these two, you're kind of better off trying to set up an octopus style passing. And I'll quickly show you the clips. First one we try from crossface underhook, tripod pass. Remember to squeeze your knees together, knee to sternum. Slice through. Hook back up. Remember to walk to the side before anything. Pin that down. Seating style pass. So here we're dealing with the underhook. Trap the underhook in place. Elbow. Underhook. Invisible underhook if it's the gi. It's the same technique, but you just pass the gi collar. And then if we can't get the crossface nor the underhook, we move on to the octopus style passing. So swing underneath the arms. Move higher up in the body, that's the main thing. And if you can get your hand to pull out your foot, you do it. If you can't, it's another 3/4 style passing. Alright, any questions about those? Fire them away now. I've got some clips. Let's see what has been going on in mine and Kiwi's rows lately. that is the end of the official class. So now I'm just gonna do some rolling kind of breakdown footage. I do forget the name. Oh, which ones? Oh, all of them. This is the hard part. Like, if you know when to use each one of these. By the way, where can you add the arm triangle? You can add the arm triangle anytime they switch to a frame. So let's say you're in crossface and underhook, or underhook like this. Anytime someone switches to a frame, we'll see one here. There, you can push and go there. Invisible underhook, you can do it from there. Here, you can also do it. So if you switch your stance and Kiwi here decides to take this arm and frame you, you can also push the arm and then get your underhook crossface, get your arm triangle as well. But don't fall for the same mistake as Aaron. Make sure your knee comes out before you start tripoding or getting your leg free, if that makes sense. But you can get it anytime they get a frame on you, and you can get the arm across. Just focus on your base after that, because otherwise you get rolled. And look up, don't look down. Cool? The only tip I'll probably have is, if we go back to Aaron's video, which is here. So here he gets an arm triangle, you see? He gets head underneath, but his knee is still inside there. He goes for the tripod pass, and he kind of bases on the top of his head. So just make sure that you're constantly, he should stay in this position here. And if the guy gets his hand underneath there, he has to work with his head. Don't go for the pass if that grip, the guy has this grip. Just do your best to use your head to push that arm across before you try anything, and you'll be good. Cool. Alright, so let's see, which one is the latest one? What's this one? Oh, I did say I was gonna do this breakdown, so I'll do this one. I think there's a bit of passing in this one, and if we have time, we'll look at Kiwi's one. This is me in the Abu Dhabi. Let's see what mistakes I make. I haven't broken down this one yet. Double guard pull there, the guy gets an advantage, and you can see he's following my lesson plan, which is nice. He goes straight into distance style passing, so he tries a Toriada there. You don't know how to slow this down, but you can see it pushes my leg. I have the wrong grip, which is a collar grip, and he's able to get past my legs. I let go of the collar grip and I just block, and I managed to get my guard. So now I have reverse de la Hiva. Managed to spin underneath for Kiss of the Dragon. He lowers the space there, which is the correct thing. Sits down to his hip to avoid the back take, but I'm left with a Berimbolo now. He gets these are new rules, so he gets a warning there for putting his hands on my trousers. we're gonna see that a lot because I do it as well. I dive in for the berimbolo. I get a pretzel bolo here. If we go back, I'm on his back now, but you can see he had this annoying little grip here on my leg that doesn't let me get my twister hook in. Now, what I should have done here, which I didn't, is he already did the counter, but what really screwed me over was this leg, and you can see it's hooked onto my hip, and that means I can't take his back anymore because I lost his leg during this scramble right here. So you can see his leg is here right now. If I was able to push his hips down and get this leg over to this side, I would have gotten his back. So again, pretzel, there's his leg. I didn't control it, so I don't end up with the back. So I abort and try to get on top. I get caught in half guard here. A little bit of off balancing by him. Goes for my leg here. He gets a nice 411 entry here. The referee doesn't see. Luckily, I know my heel hook counters. He should have been disqualified here, but I don't think the ref knows. And he gets an advantage for all of those attacks. So I think I'm down right now. Now, if you guys remember our heel hook lessons, that was basically all the counters I did in our heel hook lessons there. Now I'm left in 50-50. This is a knee bar that I like, where I grab my own collar here, and I'm trying to extend his knee and change the angle. He comes up for the 2 points. I pass the sleeve. Is a toe hold attempt. He has to roll out. No, there are not, Steve. But I just think the referee wasn't paying attention, or didn't know. Now it's a toe hold battle. He goes for my toes, I go for his toes. Now, here's where I know, where I knew at the match that my foot was more flexible than his. Because he goes for my foot here, and then I go for his. And he kind of just stops attacking mine. And he had the better toe hold than me. Mine was rubbish. I think Caesar's arguing with the points there. No one understood any of these points in this tournament. Now they're giving 1 point for every submission attempt. That's why we're both kind of going for foot, because you just keep getting I'm trying to find an opening to get underneath him for berimbolos. He goes for Toho. Here's one of my butterfly footlock counters. I really like this attack. I think I used it on every match that I had. But it's from double guard pull. I get a butterfly hook on this side. And basically any attack they go on my foot, I can roll with them and end up in a belly down footlock, which is what I did there. So I roll with him and then I end up with this belly down footlock. He still has the toe hold. But my foot, he has no knee control, so it's not very strong. Seasoned Ginger complaining. They start us off in double guard pull. I already have my butterfly footlock position. Here's my switch to crab ride. I get another warning here because I grabbed the trousers. Now I'm down, I think, by 3 points now. It's not looking well. So now I have to get up. I get 2 points. Here's where he makes the big mistake, which is from 50-50. If someone stands up, you shouldn't have a fully locked triangle, because it kind of locks you in place. So I dove in for a toe hold here. And did a bit of damage. And I get a point for the submission, and because you rolled out, I get another 2 points. I know I hurt his foot there because there's a lot of pops. But I'm still down by 1 point. Caesar's really mean here. He's like, because I already hurt his foot. He's like, go for his hurt foot. Very mean of him. So at this point, I know I'm down by 1 point, and I already know, if I pull guard here, I could have lost the match. So I'm thinking takedown at this point. I have to go for a double leg. I know he's gonna pull guard. Here, I know he's gonna pull guard at some point, so I just dive in. I get 2 points. Distance style passing, Toriada there. Long step, Toriada. He gives it the back, and I end up with a back choke. It says black belt don't tap the footlocks and toe hold, but that's crazy. It is crazy. A lot of them do, but yeah, usually because of some form of damage. Have you seen that Vinny Magalhães fight against Greg Jones, where Vinny says heel hooks don't work? He gets his legs ripped off. Alright, guys, that is the end of the class. What did I get out of this? Did lots of mistakes over here. The Sparambola one is the main one I've got to fix. At the start, I should have taken it back here. It would have been a lot easier if I finished this Sparambola well. I shouldn't have lost that back over there. Cool. Any questions? Hopefully this lesson made sense. If you got any questions, just message me on anywhere and I'll get back to you. Not sure what we're gonna do next week yet, but I'll try to figure out. But have a lovely weekend, everyone. I'll see you all on Monday. And take care.